Hi, it's iRacing commentator David Haynes. In 2019, I'm excited to be bringing coverage of the Champ Car Sim Series, the sim racing division of the Champ Car Endurance Series. Contested across 15 championship rounds using the 2015 Mazda MX-5, the winners will receive a free entry into a RiL Champ Car Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Each points round will be broadcast live by HJBC. Head to forum.champcar.org for full information and schedule. Sign-ups are open, so get registered now. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the track.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello one and all, and welcome to the penultimate round of season 26 of the Reddit iRacing League. This weekend's racing comes to you from Michigan International Speedway 2014 with the free Nascar Silverado truck. And we have a very interesting race ahead of us. I'm David Haynes. Alongside me is going to be Aaron Thacker, and our producer is Michael Derby. In Aaron's words, the band is back together. And Aaron, qualifying underway right now to set our grid.
Yeah, it is indeed underway, and I'm taking a quick look. We got some pretty fast times out there right now. Car number 7, John Patrick, is leading that, David. And with that, let's take a quick at the points for this season. Right now, Giovanni Armato is leading with 247, Alex Albert with 239, Dylan Blanton with 232, and I mentioned John Patrick currently up there, David. He is currently P14 in points, but my goodness, he is looking quick tonight.
Yeah, JP, a man who likes driving some ovals, but normally he likes it in an open wheel car with some downforce on it. This is not that. This is a much heavier vehicle. Plenty of V8 horsepower, though, but not a lot of aerodynamic downforce or anything like that. This 2 Mile Speedway, probably a pretty good fit for lots of drafting in a car like this. And the race we have ahead of ourselves is 70 laps or 55 minutes. And that'll all depend on how many cautions we get. And the form book for Reddit iRacing League would say probably expect this race to go to time.
Yeah, I think that is probably a very safe assumption at this 2 mile oval. We got 4 corners here, roughly about 18 degrees of banking. And yeah, just watching practice, I see some of these cars get very, very loose late on into the runs. So pit stop strategy and tire strategy will be extremely important. Yeah, David, and you mentioned the car these guys are driving tonight. This thing is a truck, literally a truck. 625 horsepower coming from that big old V8, and yeah, David, at 3,400 pounds, this thing is going to be a handful for these guys tonight, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun watching. It looks like, yeah, time is closed out. David, how are we doing on times?
Well, qualifying has indeed just wrapped up, so your pole man is going to be John Patrick, and alongside him on the front row of the grid is going to be Austin Burdick. They're all forming up on the grid right now. Second row is going to be Lynn Kinchelow with Daniel Ott. So interesting second row there. Third row, Nate Franklin and Philip Linden. Fourth row, Danny Girian and Zach Price.
Yeah, and then just behind that, Adam Gazinski. Adam, I apologize, I butcher your name every single time. Andrew Fawcett rounds out our top 10. Justin Hall, P11. Jack Mace, P12. Dylan Blanton, P13. Alex Albert, P14. Giovanni Romano, our current points leader in P15. Ben Fawcett, P16. Brian Molitor, P17. Cody Fisher, P18. Alex Cofford, P19. Never lift. Kyle Smith rounding out our top 20 with a 40.86. Chris Fleming, P21. David Hall, P22. Justin Lamons, P23. Jeremy Rogers, P24. Shane Cameron, P25. And rounding out our 26 car field is Michael Roth. And David, I am happy to report that everybody was able to log a lap time this time around. I think that's the first race this season. So anxious to see how everybody gets around here, and I'm really going to keep a close eye again on our championship leader, Giovanni Romano in P15, and our right behind that, sitting P2 in points, Alex Albert. So David, P14 and P15 is going to be a heavily contested battle here at the very start of this race.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be very interesting to watch. Draft in the early run is going to play a lot of factor. It's going to be very important. High speeds around a 2 mile banked oval like this, the slipstream will matter. But then, as you pointed out later in the run, if we stay green, it might be a matter of who has looked after their tires well, because that's an interesting characteristic for a lot of stock cars around here, is that it can be flat early in the run, but you might need to breathe the throttle and be careful about how you put the power down later on. So drivers who are mindful about that might come good later on. So they are rolling behind the pace car now, and in 2 miles time, slightly less than that, green flag will wave and we will be underway. 26 cars. So that's not a bad field whatsoever, especially this deep in the season, just one round after this. So critical point of the championship as well for our contenders to get a good points result. And you mentioned who that was, the likes of Giovanni Romano, Alex Albert, Dylan Blanton, and Brian Molitor, some of the drivers who need a result tonight.
Yeah, they absolutely need a result tonight, and I think there's going to be some interesting opportunities when it comes to, as you mentioned, that draft. And I think around here with 55 minutes, I think you can find yourself a drafting partner here in RiL. There is a team championship that is also being contended for. I'll have to double check some of those team pairings, but I don't know how many friends these guys have around them, David, but some of that fuel saving and some of that tire saving and maybe even some friendly bump drafting could really be beneficial with some teammate action tonight. So we'll have to check in on some of those teammate duos. But yeah, watch the draft, watch the tires, guys. Got to be careful out here. David, we do not want 55 minutes of cautions, but I think we're in for a good one tonight.
Yeah, indeed. 55 minutes or 70 laps, whichever comes first. And we are racing at Michigan because John Patrick has put the power down, got himself a little bit of a gap over Austin Burdick and Lynn Kinchlow, who are now side by side over second. Up on the high line, almost a little bit of bump drafting off the start there. But everyone I see away cleanly so far, all of our 26 drivers going cleanly off the start. We'll see how long that can last for.
Yeah, let's watch. Looks like we got somebody slow. Car number 27, Danny Girian. He's a little slow on the bottom side, David. He may have gotten a little loose, got that right rear nice and hot. Wow, he's really backing up some of these cars here. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, 3 wide. He's now the meat in the sandwich of Alex Albert and David Adamczyk trying to grab some positions, and Jack Mace in there somewhere as well. So 3 wide through turns 3 and 4 on the first lap. Someone is down on the grass. Yeah, I'm going to call that in the tri-oval, but I think we stay green. I think they've managed to hold on to it. So 1 lap of green racing under the belt. It's Alex Coffard, who's down 7 positions. Some of our other big movers, Alex Albert's up 3, Jack Mace is up 3, and so is David Hall. Ben Fawcett, one of our big losers, same for Danny Girian on the first lap, but it stays green with 1.5 laps done.
Yes, it does. And you mentioned Ben Foster. He actually gave Cofford a bit of a door slam in the tri-oval. And Alex Cofford gave us a hell of a show on the infield there with a big old ramp across the infield. He managed to save it, did not spin. We still are green. David, how's that battle up front?
John Patrick leads, and he's got a couple of car lengths over Lynn Kinchlow, who's grabbed this position from Austin Burdick. From the front row back into 3rd place goes the 07 car. Then behind that, Daniel Ott. Don't believe any relation to Mia, but we'll find out. 5th, Philip Linden. He's grabbed 1 position as well. So the outside line off the start got a pretty good jump. And we see that the drivers starting on the inside, a few of them have lost some positions.
Yeah, they have. Speaking of the inside, Giovanni Romano is trying to make that inside line work as he gets very close to David Adamczyk. My goodness, with that Dale Earnhardt Goodrich Chevrolet livery. David, we got some guys taking advantage of the low line on the tri-oval down. That looks like we're getting too wide up there, getting a bit dicey, getting a bit racy just a few minutes into this race.
Yeah, with fresh tires, you can definitely get all the way down to the yellow line, but I think the preferred line, if you were running by yourself and later in the run, will be a little bit higher. So we'll see what happens there. Romano is right in the action pack in the middle of the field, and in front of him, they're going too wide as well. So people getting a little bit racier now. They've got their tires warmed up, and they've found how the drivers around them are going to race. So it's 2 wide in front of Giovanni Romano, Dylan Blanton, and David Adamczyk. And I think Blanton on the high line probably preferred at this point, and as we get deeper into the run, be a lot easier to defend. Oh, Adamczyk, I think, goes hard into the wall. That's going to bring out our first caution, surely, unless they've been disabled without someone telling us. Nope, yellow flag is out. And Dylan Blanton, it was hard into the outside wall. Got a bit of a tap from Adamczyk. So that brings out the first caution of the race.
Yeah, David, this is another very strange incident in the tri-oval. This is the second one we've seen. First one we saw with Alex Cofford, and now we just saw David Adamczyk getting a big old dorsum and a big save by him as well. And car number 39 also had the checkup. So, yeah, David, it's a very strange incident. These guys need to pay a lot of attention to their spotters. It can be very deceiving sometimes because your spotter's going to be speaking to you this entire race, like car there, car there. It may sound repetitive, but you've got to pay attention. I just think sometimes these guys early on in the race thinking the trial B got a lot of room, but it's proven problematic so far as we've got a couple cars banged up early.
Yeah, just the way the circuit continues to curve from the start-finish line into turn 1, I think some of the drivers on the high line get tempted to squeeze down a little bit, and the drivers on the inside don't want to go all the way down to the yellow line. They want to leave about a car's width to the apron, and that just sort of creates a little bit of tension between the inside and the outside line when we're running too wide, and maybe that's causing drivers to bump doors a little bit more than they typically would. So under yellow, we'll see this time if anyone will jump into the pits. If you're in the top half of the field, I think you'll probably want to stay out, but the drivers deeper in the field might take a gamble on grabbing a bit more fuel and grabbing a fresh set of those tires.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think our first potential looking for a bluff is Adam Kinchelow in P2. And yeah, John Patrick gives a bluff. But yeah, David, Adam Kinchelow is going in. Who's following him here? Car number 7, Austin Burdick is also in. David, looks like we're going to have quite a few takers with just 6 laps into this race.
Yeah, but Philip Linden from 4th has stayed out as well. So a lot of indecision on the strategy, but in the second half of the field, though, it's pretty much a no-brainer to come in, and you're not going to lose much track position. So Austin Burdick from 2nd place blinks. Lynn Kinchelow from 3rd jumps in as well. Zach Price and Justin Lamans and others. So about half of the field into the pits. John Patrick stays out somewhat predictably, but in the top half of the field, there are a few cars that are taking the gamble at this point, have decided they don't want that track position. They want the fresh tires. So pace car does a pretty good job around here. So we should get to racing sooner rather than later, and everyone remained on the lead lap because Dylan Blanton got going again. So hopefully that means a pretty quick caution will be underway once again at Michigan. John Patrick leads, but some of the big position gainers who stayed out, Andrew Fawcett, who's now up to 4th, and Michael Roth has taken a bit of a gamble and is now in 12th position, did not pit, and has gained 14 spots from his starting position. So bit of a gamble there. We'll see if the likes of Kinchelow, Burdick, Jack Mason, Giovanni Romano, who all took tires, how lightning they can be on the restart.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting strategy. Yeah, you mentioned they are pretty strong lead group here. So Lynn Kinchelow was in P2. He's now down in P13. Austin Burdick now in P14. Our championship leader, Giovanni Bono, was all the way down in P17, whereas our P2 man in points, Alex Albert, he's moved his way up to 7. So, David, I know it's early on. These guys, I mean, we can essentially call this a free pit stop at this point, wanting to maybe slow down things a little bit, grab those fresh tires. I don't know how big of an advantage they're going to have over some of these cars. I think maybe, you're 10 laps, 15 laps in a run, you get some fresh tires, you're going to take a big advantage. But I'm going to say that Lynn Kinchelow and all this group here, basically from P13 back, it's a bit of a gamble with some of these cars that may not be as quick in the back and may not be as well controlled. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Giovanni Bono to see how he can work his way through there. But yeah, it looks like Crawford's all cleaned up. Dylan Blanton, yeah, David, looks like he has stepped out of the car, possibly headed to the pub.
Well, that's Dylan Blanton, our first and only retirement at this point. Double file restart, and we saw off the original race start that the high line got quite a good jump. John Patrick's down on the inside, and he'll get a bit of a jump as well, but behind that, the cars on the high line might be able to grab some extra positions as well. Going through 3 and 4, and then we will get racing. This will be an interesting restart to the race. It'll be lap 9 when the green flag waves. And Patrick in the lead, Ott in second place, and then Philip Linden and Andrew Fawcett. Fawcett in fourth on the high side, might be able to get himself up into third, and that would be 7 positions gained. So he'll be looking for a good restart. Pace car is in. John Patrick gets that jump. We get racing again. And Nate Franklin, caught napping down on the low side, loses a spot immediately. Justin Hall trying to get one over Alex Albert. John Patrick, excellent jump once again.
Yeah, a fantastic start there. Looks like Daniel Ott is going to stick on that low line. Yeah, David, looks like that middle lane right now is really working back. Going watching Philip Linden push up really bad on the second corner there. Danny Girian is going to get a really nice run. He's going to stick it right in the left rear quarter panel of Daniel Ott. And David, if he can get this to stick, I think he's going to do it. Yeah, P20 or car number 27 to Danny Girian. He's made the pass on Philip Linden, grabbing that P3 spot. It looks like Andrew Fawcett's also looking for an opportunity there. So getting hung out just a little bit as Philip Linden now in P4. It looks like he could lose another one.
Yeah, indeed. So not the fantastic restart that would have wanted for Philip Linden. Lynn Kinchelow down in 10th has made up quite a couple of spots off the restart. So those drivers with new tyres trying to work their way back up to the front. And it looks like pitting might have been a good move for them.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on some lap times for you. Yeah, Philip Linden has worked his way back down, but now he is, I think he's running a bit too low because we're watching Andrew Fawcett take that middle line, and he's just a bit quicker. And Nate Franklin working his way back up. And car number 33 has a massive run. Alex Albert, my goodness, is he quick? David, is he going to try and take it 3 wide into turn 1? He's wanting to. No, Philip Linden's going to close the door on that idea.
So Nate Franklin typically running that sort of DuPont livery there, down on the low line, trying to get a good run there on Philip Linden, but it hasn't worked. Linden gets clear, and then Alex Albert's going to follow on through, and he'll almost be entirely clear by the time they get to the corner. So he has his choice of line up there and running quite high and maybe pushing a little bit more than he would have wanted. Alex Albert will continue to run side by side there. Side by side further up as well. I think that's Ott and Fawcett there, and Linden. No, I might be getting confused, but definitely plenty of side-by-side action, and a speedway like this really allows you to continue to run side-by-side the whole way around. It's Danny Girian who's gotten to the lead. It's Patrick, Fawcett, and Ott nearly running 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. And the big loser there, they're going to go 3 wide again as Alex Albert forces his way through, and Daniel Ott is one of the big losers, did not get the run off of turn 2.
Wow, was that an aggressive move by Alex Albert? And David, we saw it coming. Alex Albert started in P14. He has muscled his way all the way up to P4, and everybody's on that apron down there. David, this front group, we got 3 wide again, going a possible 4 wide. Oh, and they settled down just a little bit. And Philip Linden, again, David, Philip Linden is having a very difficult time in traffic and trying to find a line that he really likes, as they're going to go 3 wide down the backstretch.
They nearly went 4 wide down the backstretch. It didn't quite work out. So Lynn Kinchelow, Justin Hall, and Jack Mason, all that coming through there. Nate Franklin in front. Franklin just kept the throttle open on the high line, 3 wide, and he was pretty successful in holding on to 5th place. So now Lynn Kinchelow is going to try and grab another spot, and those fresh tires, he is charging through the field from down in about 13th place. He's now up to 6th off the restart. And Jack Mace trying to follow through as well. JP, who started in the lead, is now back into 3rd spot because Danny Girian is through, and Andrew Fawcett is side by side with Patrick through turn 1 and 2. Patrick gets the better run off the high line, and Fawcett not going to make the move down low through turns 1 and 2. He'll try it again through 3 and 4, but he will be definitely wearing out his tires down low. He's now 14 laps on that set from the start of the race, and he's got drivers behind with slightly fresher tires trying to come through, and they are definitely doing a good job. Lynn Kinchelow is going to try and set up Nate Franklin into turn 1 and 2. and try and use that better grip to either throw it in hard or get a better run off the corner. He's going to come down low in 2. He's going to try and come underneath Nate Franklin. They're side by side. Franklin can't get the run off 1 and 2, and so Kincheloe grabs another spot. Great work with the new tires from the number 44 car.
Yeah, indeed. And David, let's stay on the action. Yeah, we've got a car stopped in the backstretch. Car number 10 is stopped. That's David Hall. And we also have car number 58. So, David, we are somehow avoiding cautions right now because we have a car completely stopped on the track, but we have remained green. So, David, we're starting to see some of those cars possibly drop off with some laps, with some tires. And unfortunately, yeah, Jeremy Rogers just blew an engine on the backside. And David, looks like David Hall is also blown. So we are getting very lucky with no cautions here as things continue to be very spicy up front.
Interesting to see some of these engines going. You wouldn't expect it would be a bad gear shift. You'd expect all of these drivers to be remaining in 4th gear, maybe some overheating issues. That might be it. You might need to get your nose into a little bit of clean air to get that cold air through your radiator. I'm not sure what it could be for some of these guys, but obviously reliability, something to think about at this point in the race, especially as we've had our longest run of green flag running so far. I've probably just gone and jinxed it.
Yeah, David, I feel like I saw another car smoking on the bottom line here. But, David, let's work our way to the battle from basically from P9 all the way through P14 because these guys are side by side back here. Chris Fleming is blinking a little bit. David, they're 3 wide again. These guys are having a blast right now.
And now the caution does come out. What has caused that one?
Yeah,
I didn't quite have my eyes on.
Yeah, car number 76, David Adamczyk. Yeah, David, he was the meat in a sandwich. He worked his way through. I'm trying to see what happened here.
Got a little bit of I think he slid up in turns 1 and 2 and made contact with someone who was trying to pass him around the outside. It was Alex Coffard, I think. So those two have come together in 1 and 2. Coffard and Adamczyk. Yeah, a bit of a slide for Adamczyk, and then he's corrected up into the side of Alex Coffard. And those two have then come together again on the backstretch.
Yeah, David, that's a pretty peculiar issue. Coffard smacked the wall. Then it looked like he was stable, and then he just completely dove down into David Adamczyk. I don't think that was probably a malicious move. I think he may have lost some steering on that car because that was a very strange move, and I know that Coffard does not drive like that. So, David, not quite sure what happened there, but David Adamczyk was a strong runner, but that car is a crumpled piece of metal right now, and David, the guys are coming around. I expect some pit stops from pretty much everybody.
Yeah, and indeed, Danny Girian, your leader, leads the train into the lane, and just about everyone following it, with the exception of, who's that? Jack Mace. So a bold call there, only 1 or 2 cars staying out. And about Alex Coffard, he's not one to retaliate or be an intentional wrecker unless he's had some White Claw.
Yeah, some White Claw will make anybody do something totally unreasonable. Let's keep an eye on who's going to win and lose on pit road. Let's keep an eye on the lane times here. Guys taking full tires, going up left, going up right. David, who's going to be the first down? Who's going to be the first moving?
Might be Danny Girian who's going to win the race out of the lane, or it might be Alex Albert. I don't know. But Jack Mason, Cody Fisher, the 2 cars that stayed out, are now 1 and 2. Both of them pitted under the previous caution and have decided to stay out this time. There's no one in the field with the same tires they had at the start of the race. Danny Girian does win the race out of the lane. David Adamczyk, I'm not sure what went on there, has gone through the lane but taken no service. He would have been a lap down, I think, so I'm not sure what's going on there, if he's gotten his lap back or something. But Lynn Kincheloe now in 5th, and Alex Albert in 6th.
Yeah, I worry, David, he may have, in the shuffle of all those cars in pit lane, he may have missed his pit box. We're risking being disqualified and not stopping and trying to back up. So that is unfortunate. Pretty much gave himself a drive-through penalty. Looking at some pit stop times, it looks like the pit crew award for this session is going to go to Giovanni Romano's pit crew with a 38.7 pit stop. The next closest looks like it's going to be Christopher Fleming with a 39.1. David, so some very expedient pit crews down there. Looks like your average pit time is roughly around 40 to 42 seconds. So some good pit times. Giovanni Romano has worked his way up as the field cycles through. He is up to P5. And where's our P2 in points? Alec Albert is in P3. So David, our championship leader and our P2 in points, they are slowly working their way back to each other's bumpers.
Not sure what's going on here, but Jack Mason, Cody Fisher, who stayed out the previous time around, have jumped into the pits this time. So they were on the lead lap. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, they jump into the pits as well. So Danny Girian is going to lead the restart once again alongside Lynn Kinchelow, and then the second row is going to be Alex Albert and John Patrick. Will be a double file restart once again. And do you know what I can see now is the lights on that pace car. And there's no circuit lights and no lights on our race cars. So 50 laps to go, or what is that, about 30 minutes. It's going to get very, very dark.
Yes, it is. Unlike what you commonly see on pickup trucks, these guys do not have LED light bars to light up the road
to blind
in front
the
of them.
sports car in front of them and the poor driver sitting a bit lower. Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, no LED light bars in any of these cars. So, David, looks like we're probably going to have one more to green here. Yeah, the lights are still in the car. Doing a quick scan down through some lap times. I'm seeing right now, is it our man Lynn Kinchelow? Is what I'm seeing is leading with the fast lap. David, what is your timing screen showing?
Best lap I'm seeing is definitely Lynn Kinchelow, a 40.592. Kinchelow was one of those drivers who had fresh tires off the last restart, I think. So I'm seeing Jack Mace with 40.512 as well. But those are only two drivers I can see with a 40.5. So those are two guys that had fresh tires off the last restart. Clearly were able to keep that throttle pinned all the way around and pick up a little bit of slipstream while making some positions. I think that's what it is. Just about everyone with some fresh tires on this restart as well. So we might see some quick times, and we definitely are going to see the track temperature continue to drop because the sun is almost nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, David, I do want to report again. It looks like we have another retirement. Jeremy Rogers has opted to join Dylan Blanton in the pub here at Michigan International Speedway. So unfortunately, two people have left this race, but we still have 24 cars on track with just right at 34 minutes left of racing. So lights out onto the pace car. Everybody's getting themselves filed back through. They're entering NASCAR 3 right now. That very generous, but not quite enough 18-degree banking. David, I'm not quite seeing a line breaking in yet, so not enough rubber on the track with those 20 laps in. We'll probably start to see some rubber here the next 15 or so, because right now I don't think there's really a preferred line, but we're getting ready to go to green. Let's see what these guys choose.
Yeah, indeed. I think the remaining part of this race will be lit entirely by engine backfires. So the pace car comes in, Danny Girian waits, and now he puts the throttle down, and Lynn Kinchelow and Alex Albert caught a little bit napping, and Lynn Kinchelow maybe more so than Alex Albert. He's got a great jump, might try and grab another spot into turns 1 and 2. Plenty of side-by-side behind there. Giovanni Romano's looking for a way past John Patrick and does get his nose down to the inside there in 1 and 2. We'll have to be careful not to go up too far. Alex Albert has grabbed a spot on the restart, or has he? Because Lynn Kinchelow is going to try and come back. All of this will let Danny Girian build out a little bit more gap. Side by side is Romano and Patrick behind. Nate Franklin's looking for a way through as well, and a good jump from some of your top cars. Alex Albert, one of the winners though off the restart, trying to get another spot on Lynn Kinchelow. Those two have swapped positions.
Yeah, they have it. Alex Albert, he's proven before that he really kind of likes that higher line. He's not too bothered if a car is below him. Starting to listen to some of the throttle applications on some of these. I think with these fresh tires, yeah, these guys can almost keep that thing pinned. He's going to dive down. Oh, David, that was very close on the bumper now, but Lynn Kinchelow is going to have the pole from Danny Girian, but Alex Albert is going to have the preferred line going into NASCAR 3 and 4 here. Can he make it work? Alex Albert looking for that seam in the road to let that rear plant. And he's pushing up, David. What a save by Alex Albert, as that car just got very, very pushy coming out of NASCAR 4.
So they stay door to door for second place, and they've caught Danny Girian a little bit. His lead is no means insurmountable. Side by side, Romano's on the high side of John Patrick as well. Romano's going to get the better run on the high side, and Nate Franklin will also try and come through there. It's going to be plenty of side by side on the backstretch, I think, as Fawcett and Burdick are in that mess as well. And the top three almost making a little bit of a breakaway. Giovanni Romano, I think, is going to try and carry as much speed as he can off 3 and 4 to make sure that doesn't happen. They're going to go almost 3 wide in the background there as well. Not quite.
Yeah, they're not. Nate Franklin, I don't want to say he's hung out there. Nate Franklin is, one of those drivers. He's very conservative. You watch him get his nose chopped off by car number 7, Austin Burdick. Yeah, Nate Franklin, I think, is just playing it safe right now. He knows there's 31 minutes left in this race. But yeah, Austin Burdick keeping that high line, going to work his way past Daniel Ott up to P7. So David, they've calmed down just a little bit. That front group not breaking away as much. I think some of that battling has slowed them down a bit. But Giovanni Romano running very quick right now as we watch Lynn Kinchlow tuck right back up into Alex Albert. Alex Albert's going to dive to that line, maybe save himself a couple inches on the backstretch to maintain that advantage.
Yeah, all of our chefs here using the apron across the start-finish line. Definitely seems like the quicker way. A lot of people do that here at Michigan. Just take the most direct path from the exit of 4 to the entrance of 1. A lot of them diving down there, and also they protect the inside into turns 1 and 2. Jirian still leads and has led plenty of laps, but now Alex Albert has a good run, going to try and go high around the outside into 3 and 4. Then Kinchlow all the way down low as well. And Giovanni Romano, who's up 11 positions from where he started, takes his good run through there and is going to try and catch these guys for the lead. Pardon me. A little bit of side-by-side, Jirian and Albert.
Yeah, they've really got to watch out here. Alex Albert is not about to give an inch. Oh, David, he gets very loose. Whoa, my goodness.
Jirian with a big slide up, and that lets Albert take a fantastic run. Lynn Kinchlow is going to try and come through, but Romano takes him 3 wide on the backstretch, moves from 4th to 2nd, and that pushes Jirian and Kinchlow back into the chasing pack. Albert now has a lead of 8/10, just because Kinchlow and Jirian had to both get out of the throttle to avoid contact. Side by side behind them as well with Fawcett and Patrick. And taking a look at them is Austin Burdick and Daniel Ott as well. Nate Franklin's dropped back quite a bit on this run. Not sure what's going on for him there. But ferocious from 6th to 10th here. A lot of side by side through turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, David, I've watched the replay a few times of what Danny Jirian did. David, he just opted not to do the typical NASCAR, go wide and dive in. David, he was on the very bottom line from the get-go, probably put a little too much wheel into it, probably tried to apply the throttle. And David, that car just got very, very loose. And although we probably didn't see it from our view, there was probably a lot of wheel work going on to save that car, and great driving by everyone else around him. So Danny Jirian working his way back up, but my goodness, has Alex Albert really run away? These guys need to get in line and catch back up to him in due time. Otherwise, a caution may be their only chance at this point, because Alex Albert, he is quick by himself.
Yeah, Jirian with 2nd place, Romano in 3rd, and Lynn Kinchlow tried to dive it down the inside of them. It didn't work, and he has no run off 1 and 2, and that's let John Patrick and Austin Burdick close up a little bit. Albert trying to run his own lines, trying to get away, but I think on the backstretch here, the slipstream is just a little bit too effective for being able to get away at this point. Maybe as the tires wear down more, though, he'll be able to get away. So Jirian, Romano, Kinchlow with his nose to the inside of Romano into 1 and 2. These guys going side by side, it's really not helping their times at the moment. There's plenty of side by side all through the field, especially our top couple of cars. Danny Jirian disappears for a second to join us once again. And I think that's Austin Burdick in the red car. Sorry, Daniel Ott might be. They're trying to go down the inside of Giovanni Romano. Romano loses out a spot as Burdick grabs one to get back into the top 4.
Yeah, I'm just Daniel Ott and John Patrick. They pretty much have been side by side for the last couple laps, and Andrew Fawcett getting a bit impatient behind these two. But it looks like, David, that high line is looking to be a bit more preferred at this point. Just as I say that, Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, Andrew Fossey gets a little bit caught out. But yeah, Giovanni Romano, he was right up there in the mix, but obviously he got caught out, so he's really trying to work his way back. But David, it looks like that low line is slowing down just a little bit. That high line is looking a little more preferred, maybe a little bit more grip up there, as these guys could really run it up there. Alex Albert is running as about as high as he can. So yeah, David, this group here from pretty much P1 all the way back to P16, Cody Fisher. These guys are all very, very tight, running a favorable draft as we watch Lynn Kinchelow taking a look at Alex Albert.
Yep, Albert has been caught up front. Kinchelow down the inside, I think just about gets side by side, but then Danny Girian in third had a monster of a run with nowhere to go, or decided just to stay in line. Absolutely door to door into turns 3 and 4 for the lead of the race. Kinchelow gets his nose ahead, but will he be able to get the power down off the low line there? Albert up higher, gets the throttle open and just pushed up a little bit higher than I think he would have wanted. Girian stays in third, side by side for fourth. Burdick with his nose in front of Romano, side by side for sixth. Fawcett on the inside of John Patrick, and gets the position before the turn in for 1 and 2. All in a line for 1, 2, and 3, but Burdick and Romano still side by side. Romano up high gets a little bit of a better run, but Burdick has proved he can hold his own down low.
Yeah, he's been strong down there, and I think Giovanni Romano is going to prefer that top line. David, I want to go back to that pass again by Lynn Kinchelow. Lynn Kinchelow on that pass, just the lap before, he was a half second faster than Alex Albert. He did a 41 dead. Alex Albert did a 41.5, so something must have happened with Alex Albert, because Lynn Kinchelow put in a banger of a lap, and that was just enough to get him through and make that pass. Right now, he's being challenged by Danny Girian, who looks, yes, David, on my timing screen, he has made the pass on Alex Albert.
Yeah, indeed. Albert running in second at the moment, side by side with Girian, while Lynn Kinchelow has grabbed the lead. Justin Hall has jumped down onto the lane, which is interesting. I don't know if there's any damage for him, or he's just seen that he might be able to get to the end on fuel from here, and is just taking a gamble on it staying green and him being able to make up some spots. That'll be interesting to see what happens there. But Romano side by side with Burdick, and Andrew Fawcett looking for a way through there as well. Kinchelow leads from Girian. Albert back into third place now. I don't know if he's worn out his tires or something, or maybe he's trying to play some fuel strategy games. Who knows? But Romano in fourth, and Burdick and Fawcett side by side, and Fawcett with a good run around the outside might just grab that position away from Burdick, and indeed it looks like he might. And it's Ott and Flamian for 7th and 8th, and the top 8 have broken away a little bit from then. Philip Linden leads 9th place. From 10th place, Brian Molitor.
Yeah, he really is. David, I'm keeping a close eye on some of these lap times. These guys on fresh tires were doing 40.6s. Right now they're doing 41.5s, 41.6s. So we're really starting to see some of that tire wear. I'm going to keep an eye on Justin Hall, who did pit here. Now, he is by himself. So we always talked about getting a partner on tracks like this. The draft is so important. So Justin Hall, yes, he's going to have fresh tires. But, David, he's probably going to be probably up to 5 miles an hour slower on some of these straights. So good strategy, but we're going to have to keep an eye on to see how that closes out. Is the battle between Giovanni Romano, Austin Burdick, and Daniel Ott continues to play out.
Yep. Fawcett trying to go down the inside of Romano. Romano goes up high. Fawcett stays down low. Burdick sticks his nose in there. 3 wide. Very, very touchy there. I think everyone rolls out of the throttle a little bit to try and avoid contact. And there's 3 wide across the stripe. And Romano has his nose ahead as they do that. Someone's coming out of the pit exit there rather slow. The 3 cars do avoid them. Kinchelow, Girian, and Albert, your top 3, but then Burdick, Romano, and Fawcett fighting very, very hard over 4th place.
Yeah, Dave, we get another pit taker as well. Jack Mace is also in the pit, so we're starting to see some of these guys cycle through. But my goodness, yeah, Giovanni Romano really needs to get his way back up there, because that lead group is pulling away. But Austin Burdick is looking very strong right now on these old tires. 18 laps in right now. So this front group is the fastest group, but the guy with older tires down in P13, David K. Hall is 21 laps on his tires, David. So I'm starting to look at some of this. The option to not pit is pretty much not feasible at this point. I can't imagine these guys would drive these cars. But with just over 22 minutes left in this race, but pit strategy, they're probably thinking about it.
Yeah, indeed. And the back of the envelope maths says that, and sorry to all the Americans who would rather say math, but I think if we stay green, it's still going to go to time at this point. I think the 2 cautions that we've had was enough that even staying green from here means it's going to go to time. That means that there's 19 minutes of racing left. So some of these guys might just be able to make it to the end. If we were looking at laps with 32 to go, pitting again would definitely seem like a clever strategy. I think our winner today is probably someone who's going to stay out from here.
Yeah, and we're going to want to keep an eye on that person that chooses to do that, and maybe go with some in-car cameras, because there's going to be some serious sawing of that wheel. Is that right rear is going to be screaming by the end of this race if somebody is oh so bold enough to run on these tires for another 21 minutes. But I think you're probably right. We're probably going to see it if somebody dives in, anybody inside probably the top 5 dives in, we're going to get a ton of followers, because that's going to give them a huge advantage. So Dave, looks like we've got a car slow on track. Car number 83, Cody Fisher. What has happened to him?
Not sure, but it's towed onto the lane has Fisher, and the race stays green. So drama's there for Fisher in the 83 car, but no dramas for the rest of the field who stay under green flag conditions. The tires wearing out has really dropped the lap times, but it's also spread the field out, which I think helps our chances of staying green until the end. Kincheloe with 7 tenths over Danny Girian, who's then got about 4 tenths over Alex Albert. Daniel Ott dropping down the field as well that I see. Coffard jumping onto the lane. So a couple of calls going on deeper in the field there. Who does that mean our winners out of this are? I mean, Alex Albert up 11 spots, Romano up 10, Flamian up 14, and we see what happened there to Daniel Ott. Successfully doesn't trigger the pace car to come out, keeps us green flag racing, but the tires wearing out, and it's getting dark out there.
Yeah, David, I think that was the first instance we were talking about where the rear tires just absolutely gave up on Daniel Ott. A very graceful spin across the infield. Looks Alex Cofford has also opted for a pit as well, David. So I think some of these guys are thinking about it. I think that top group, Lynn Kincheloe, Danny Girian, Alex Albert, Austin Burdick, Giovanni Mano, they got to start paying attention, because 19 laps left. David, these guys are running 42s at this point, and we know on fresh tires these guys can run 40s for probably 4 to 5 laps, and that is going to catch it. So, and Dave looks like, yeah, Daniel Ott is in the pit lane.
Yeah, no doubt. Just calling time on that set of tires. If they weren't good on the track, they're no good off-road. Kind of ironic for these trucks, but you know, whatever. So, I mean, my eye now on, Justin Hall has just done a 41 dead. He's just on the lead lap, I think, and that's rather critical for him. So he's going to be trying to get further up the field, down from 21st, but pulling about a second a lap on a lot of his competitors, and more on some of the other guys out there who've worn their tires out more. So we'll see how far up the order Hall can go. As Michael Roth jumps into the lane. Maybe there's a couple of guys who pitted under the first caution but not the second one, who don't think they can go to the end on fuel if it stays green.
Yeah, I just don't know. David, I'm going to ask our producer to hop in car with Austin Burdick. He's getting close to Alex Albert, but David, I watched him come out of NASCAR 4, and that was a big old drift by Austin Burdick. So I think he's getting pretty creative out there with some of his steering. As you watch, yeah, David, he's almost drifting coming out of NASCAR 1 and 2 there. So Austin Burdick, I think he looks controlled on track, but my goodness, he's looking a bit dicey with some of his steering, versus Giovanni Mano behind him looks a little more stable. So watch Alex Albert push up a lot, David. Oh my goodness, Alex Albert, he's hit the wall.
He does touch the wall. He keeps it pointing the right way, but lots of sparks there in the view for Austin Burdick. So Burdick moves up to grab the final podium position. Alex Albert's down into 5th there. I think his truck will probably be all right, but man, that front right tire must have just been crying enough on the exit of 4, and he just pushed all the way up, and he backed himself a little bit too much, because he kept in the throttle a little too much, and then he touched that wall, lost a lot of momentum, a lot of time in 2 positions.
Yeah, that's tough. If I'm Alex Albert, I may consider pitting this, but we have had a few more takers. Michael Roth has also pitted. Kyle Neverlift Smith has also pitted. So those guys been in the back of the field, but they have taken a pit stop. I'm watching for any other slowing on track, and no, David, nobody else is taken right now. But by goodness, things are getting pretty spicy out here. Justin Hall, where is he at? He's still P21, who pitted several laps ago. But yeah, David, watching the cars cycle around, no new pit stops, so it's going to get interesting out here as we watch this front group continue to be competitive. But we've watched what can happen pretty easily, a spin, and that can ruin your race. And Alex Albert, tough break.
Yeah, indeed. So Kinchelo now leading by 1.3 seconds, 1.4 solidly out of the draft with Danny Girian. Girian, I think, is going to dive down onto the lane. And so Burdick up in second. Romano has a great run, and now he's going to try and grab a spot away from Burdick. A caution is out. What has caused this?
I'm trying to see here, David. There are some slow cars.
Looking down my timing screen. Has he just come out of the pits, or did Christopher Flamion cause it?
Yeah,
Flamion is in the infield. A lot of damage on his truck. That's probably what it's caused the caution. So for the number 37, coming out of turns 3 and 4, he was side by side with some other trucks, and a bit of contact has been made somewhere along. He's gone around. Caution is out. 23 laps to go, or about 12 minutes. And it's definitely going to be that 12 minutes.
Yeah, David. David. Him and Ben Fawcett had a little door banging. And David, Giovanni Romano, I believe he was the pitter on that. So he has pitted at the most opportunistic time, as everybody else is going to dive in. But Giovanni Romano pitted right as that caution came out, so he is not going to receive a penalty. Pit lane was not closed for Giovanni Romano. David, I think he's going to be sitting very pretty on this restart.
Romano stayed out. I think it was Justin Lehman's.
Oh, yeah, David. Yeah, David, you're correct.
Danny Girian was the one that was running our top 3, dived into the lane. Again, as you say, at a very opportune time. He's now running P14. He'll cycle probably to the lead, as I assume everyone in front will either pit or be on very, very old tires compared to him. So Girian masterstroke his strategy there. And Alex Coffard, Jack, Daniel Ott, and I tell you what, Justin Hall might also grab a lot of positions out of this as well. So Lynn Kinchelo, Giovanni Romano, Austin Burdick all jump into the lane, and there's going to be some winners out of this, and one of them is going to be Danny Girian.
Yeah, I think we're looking for that pit crew award again, David. And car number 76 has stayed out. David Adamczyk, he has not had a great race, but he's going to stay out there and allow himself to take some pride and lead one lap here.
So Danny Girian into the lead. David Adamczyk is going to grab second. Alex Coffard, I think, will grab third spot potentially once all these pits are done. Shane Cameron, though, big win for him off the lane. He's gone ahead of some of the others, I think. Kinchelo, Burdick, Romano, the order that they leave, the top 3 leave the lane, and Danny Girian, well, he now has the lead.
Yeah, he does, and he is as fresh as a daisy out there when it comes to tires. David, I don't know what it looks like for you from a TV camera standpoint, but I almost need a flashlight to see these cars. I can't imagine it's too much better sitting in the car. I'm sure these guys would appreciate if the pace car would stay out at this point, because my goodness, is it getting dark.
Yeah, they say that there's no lights around Michigan, and there's no track lights, but the one thing that is lit up is there's a Sunoco sign at the entrance towards pit lane, and I think some of them might gravitate there like flies because there's not much else to see.
No, there's not much else to see. I'm sure our producer, Michael Derby, is going to be enjoying producing the ending part of this race. He's going to probably want a flashlight himself. Maybe we can get a helicopter to fly over the circuit with a spotlight. But, David, looks like the lights are out on the pace car, much to the chagrin of these guys. But I'm sure they're ready to get this race moving along before that sun completely sets. And this turns into a true night blackout race. With just under, these guys will probably have just over 13 minutes left to finish this, David. So right now I'm going to take a quick scan to see who all, so pretty much everybody has taken, two stops, correct? And so right now, David, I'm sorry, I'm just working through my screen here. But it's going to be pretty much a sprint race towards the end here. 15 minutes, these guys are probably going to have just enough tires to be aggressive, stay in those high 40s, low 41 times. So we're going to see some aggressive racing, David. I worry we get 2 more cautions. We're going to run out of daylight, and we're going to be in for a real treat to finish this race.
So, actually, I can see almost 3 or 4 Sunoco signs around the circuit, which I believe are the only things other than the pace car that is illuminated. And when the pace car goes and sits at the end of pit lane, it'll cast some light onto the entrance to turn 1. Other than that, it's going to be pretty dark out there indeed by the time we get to the end.
Yeah, David, I apologize. I thought I saw the lights go out. So no, this next lap by will be going green again. Trying to see, David, what do you have local time out here? Because I worried that the fans sitting in the grandstands are also going to have a difficult time seeing it. But David, if it's deep into the evening, they may be a few beverages deep and may not be too concerned about how much they can or cannot see. They may just be enjoying the sounds of these 600 horsepower V8s and seeing the cars when they can see them come around the tri-oval.
This caution taking a little bit longer than what we might have expected. A couple cars trapped between the pace car and the leader get released now. Those are Alex Coffer, Daniel Ott, Jack Mace, and Justin Hall. So where they were compared to the caution has not really worked out for them. We thought Justin Hall might have been a big winner out of this, but he's not. He's going to be down in 19th position. Somehow he's gotten trapped between the pace car and Danny Girian on this on this restart. So that's an odd one, and a few of those drivers probably not going to be too happy with how that's happened. I believe Hall was on the lead lap when the caution came out, and then some of the cars in front have cycled through the pit lane, and he's not been able to move ahead of them as he might have expected. So the cars that were our lead pack and pitted under the caution have kept their positions. So Kinchelo, Burdick, Romano, second, third, and fourth, and maybe should have lost out to some of the drivers that had pitted earlier under green. I'm not sure what's happened there, but we have 10 minutes of racing to go. That pace car pulls into the lane. Danny Girian is on a trip into the unknown and into the darkness. He puts the throttle down and he gets the jump away.
Yeah, he is off, and Danny Girian, he's leading this race. Watching Lynn Kinchelo, Austin Burdick go side by side. Giovanni Romano in at the cat seat, waiting to see what they do. And David, track temperature right now is 79 degrees. That is pretty much a layer of ice when it comes to this track. It is a very, very cold track as we watch Lynn Kinchelo take a inside look on Austin Burdick trying to battle for P2.
Yep, there's definitely some pixels on my screen, and one of them is Danny Girian leading and Kinchelo in second. Giovanni Romano has 4th place, and he would almost be our hard charger of the race if it wasn't for David Hall in 8th place, having gained 14 spots.
Yeah, that is a heck of a drive. So Giovanni Romano, he's now in P5. Alex Albert in P6. So, David, here we go. Our 2 championship battlers. Alex Albert is looking to make his way. He has a massive draft on the backstretch here as you watch Danny Jurian take a very interesting line into turn 1, and I don't think that's going to be preferred unless he can get a good slide coming out of NASCAR 3 and 4. I think Lynn Kinchlow could make some quick work of him with a very good line here as he gets very defensive. Whoa! Big dive by Danny Jurian, blocking Lynn Kinchlow coming to the tri-oval.
Good thing that they put shiny chrome grills on these trucks too, because that's about all I can see. Although we will be able to see the pace car once again as the yellow is out, somewhat unsurprisingly with 8 minutes to go. This will eat up quite a bit of the remaining time because there'll be at least 3 laps behind that pace car, and they are more than a minute. They're almost a minute and 20 seconds behind the pace car. So caution out once again will eat up about another 3 or 4 minutes of the 7 minutes that remain, and Danny Jurian would, I'm sure, dearly love if we just stayed under caution all the way till the end.
I bet he would appreciate that too. Yeah, David, the incident unfortunately came at the cause of Ben Fawcett again getting a bit loose, and Kyle Smith, Never Lift Smith, was the suffering member of that error by Ben Fawcett. Kyle Smith in pit lane. David, I imagine he may be joining Dylan Blanton and Jeremy Rogers up in the pub here at Michigan International Raceway. But yeah, David, we have got our 3rd caution of this race, and I can't imagine any pit strategy at this point would be a wise move with 10 minutes left. And just a handful of laps on these tires, David. Yeah, I think everybody here is about 6 laps on their tires. Our current leader, Danny Jurian, is 8 laps on those tires, so not going to be a big loss in performance. But I can't imagine we see any very bold moves for a pit lane, but we've seen crazier things in the RiL series, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, indeed. Speaking of those drivers who've gone down to the pub, I'm not sure what's a good beverage to drink in Michigan. I did not spend enough time there. What do you think they've gone and grabbed a nice cold pint of?
Well, being this a NASCAR event, I would think it would be a taste-free, probably Busch Light or Miller Light or Bud Light, or maybe even a Bud Heavy. Possibly even a Bud Heavy would likely be the more popular drink here. But wish we could call
Coffin and Mace on the lane. So from deep in the field, they're thinking just slightly fresher tires might help them. But other than that, just about everyone else staying out, including drivers who'd pitted before the previous caution, like Daniel Ott and Justin Hall. While we remain under caution, one driver gets their lap back. I didn't quite see who that was. Maybe Justin Lemons is flying around. He gets a lap back. I'm going to have to step out for 90 seconds, and you can see what happens under caution.
Thank you, David. But yeah, it looks like we've got the Justin Lemons, likely the beneficiary of a lucky dog here in this race. But yeah, let's keep a close eye on car number 19, Alex Crawford, who took a pit in Jack Mace. Crawford has had a bit of an eventful race, but they're going to work their way back in behind car number 49. 549 of Kyle Smith, who has rejoined us, which we are excited to see that. So they've got a bold strategy strapped on with them, Mr. Alex Crawford and Jack Mace, working their way through. It looks like car number 5, Justin Lemons is working his way back through. So lights still out on the pace car. I think we're probably going to have one more to go. And I am really starting to be concerned about this lighting situation. I do not feel for our producer, what he's trying to deal with right now. He's probably having to run some very tight cameras in order to see some of this action. And the pace car goes across. And no, looks like we're going to have 2 more laps to go on this current caution. So right now, our fast lap of the race is still belonging to car number 32 with a 40.512 Jack Mace, currently in P20. My goodness, was he quick early on in the race? Likely the beneficiary of some very nice drafting. But Jack Mace not probably having the race he wanted. So right now, we've got Giovanni Motto, our points leader, sitting in P5. Alex Albert,
I'm back,
sitting in P6. And yeah, David, just kind of talking about some points implications here, and really trying to figure out where our pitters are going to work through here, Alex Cofford and Jack Mace, because David, they've got a lot of work to do with probably when we're done here, 8 minutes left, and I just don't know if that's enough time to go completely flat out, never lift. And what line do you take when you're that fresh on a track that is probably not much warmer than your refrigerator?
Yeah, indeed. Going to be interesting. And can you even see what line you're on? I mean, I'm riding on board with Philip Linden right now, and he's 8th in the train. You can see where the pace car is, and he can just about only see where Andrew Fawcett is in front of him from the exhaust backfires as Fawcett modulates the throttle. But at flat out, it'll be quite hard to see indeed, and they'll be thankful there's only 2.5 minutes of racing left, I think. Yeah, you can definitely see the flashing yellow light at the start-finish line that lets them know that they are still under caution. I think the lights are out on the pace car now, though, so it'll be restarting in 2 miles' time.
Yeah, restarting in 2 miles time. And David, I think the PA announcer at the track would probably ask everyone with a cell phone to turn on the camera, or sorry, turn on the light function on there and shine some light, because David, I have lost all visibility, and I am a slave to the timing screen at this point, because my goodness, is it dark out there right now. But all right, so Danny Jerian, he's got 2 laps older tires than sitting on P2. Mr. Lynn Kinchelo, Austin Burdick, and pretty much everybody behind him has got 2-lap younger tires. We don't really see any behavior that is going to show they're trying to warm their tires or get them back up to temperature. I'm sure that's probably not too important at this point. But David, you're pretty much driving on a dream at this point with the lighting conditions currently on track, and you're at the absolute mercy of your spotter and possibly your F3 box, because you're probably not seeing too much else out there. Because I'll tell you right now, David, I can't see anything.
Yeah, we'll have a look at in the grandstands maybe as we go racing again. Sometimes there's fans up there with their camera flash on, and that will help you know roughly where the track goes, but it won't help you see the cars around you. Pace car is in. Danny Jerian, what is he gonna do? I can't tell you. Has he jumped? Maybe. Philip, green flag waves, and we get going. Philip Linden, who I'm riding on board with still, has safely gotten away. But the fans in the grandstands are not lighting up the track anywhere near enough. Philip Linden has not had a solid jump at all. There's 3 wide in front of him. And Giovanni Romano has gotten by Alex Albert. Philip Linden is by Andrew Fawcett. Other than that, I can't tell you what's going on. Philip Linden is in the wall. It's yellow flag again, and that will take us to the finish.
My goodness, yeah, David, I have a sneaking suspicion he probably couldn't see where he was going. Yeah, it looks like David. Shane Cameron had also had an issue. David, I don't know how they're going to finish these laps here because they truly cannot see. I think maybe you follow the Sunoco sign. Maybe you aim for the caution lights. But David, even cars slowing on track, I don't even know how you navigate at this point. They're probably begging. Yeah, I'm watching Shane Cameron drive to the infield on the grass, guessing to where he needs to be going. David, I cannot imagine some of the radio chatter that is going on track right now.
I try. The iRacing blimp has some lights on it though, so yeah, I mean, Shane Cameron has found the racing surface again. So no, he hasn't. He's back on the grass again. He's sort of driving by Braille right now. But Danny Jerian, it is the last lap. The white flag did wave, and they're all behind caution. So Danny Jerian will win this race. Austin Burdick is in second, and Lynn Kinchelo was 6 or 8 seconds behind them on the track, just trying to find his own space, and everyone will somehow make it across the finish line. But this finishing under caution is no surprise.
Yeah, David, I think to their benefit, this race is ending, and I think also to our benefit, this race is ending, because I don't know how we would call anything. Because yeah, David, entering that final section there, yeah, I don't think they could see anything. I think what you would do was maybe hunt for the grass, hunt for the apron. As soon as the steering wheel gave you a rattle that you're on the apron, you have a rough idea of where you are. But David, I think our fantastic leadership of RIL moderators have done it again with another showcase of why this league is so much fun and so challenging, because we are truly ending this race with an absolute blackout.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of a shambles, bit of a schmozzle, if you ask me. And, how could the admins possibly have known this would have happened when only 5 people told them?
Yeah, looks like all these guys are finishing the race and driving in front of the pace car to see what is going on. But, David, I'm sure we're about to see some very interesting driving as they maybe attempt to go back to pit lane. Probably not. I'm anxious to interview our group here as this race finishes out. David, let's walk through our race finishers, because these guys are true heroes tonight, driving what they drove through.
Yeah, indeed. So Danny Girian is your winner, and he'll be very thankful for those last couple of cautions. Austin Burdick gets second. Lynn Kinchelow rounds out the podium. Nate Franklin, actually a pretty reasonable drive out of him to get 4th place, staying out of trouble. Giovanni Romano gets 5th. And Philip Linden, 6th. Alex Albert had some dramas at the end there. He's actually all the way down in 17th. He was in that battle. So Philip Linden gets 6th. 7th goes to David Hall. 8th is Andrew Fawcett. 9th is Zach Price. And John Patrick, your pole sitter, ends up finishing in 10th.
And what a drive for I think, David, anybody that finished this race is a true champion. Brian Molitor, P11, Daniel Ott, P12, David Adamczyk, P13, Justin Hall, P14, Justin Lamons, P15, Michael Roth, P16, Alex Albert, P17, Shane Cameron, P18, Chris Fleming, P19, Jack Mace rounding out our top 20, Cody Fisher, P21, Alex Crawford, P22, Kyle Neverlift Smith, P23, Ben Fawcett, P24, had a pretty rough night, and our men in the pub, Jeremy Rogers and Dylan Blanton, rounding out our 26 car field. David, I am going to do a quick scan of the pit lane. David, I forgot my headlamp, so if I grab the wrong person, I apologize. I'm going to be shouting and hoping somebody responds to me if they want to hop up in the booth.
Yeah, I'm not able to see Danny Girian down there either. So we might have to go to someone else, like our 2nd place finisher, Austin Burdick. And first of all, Austin, the first thing I have to say is, did you find your way to the finish line by Braille?
For some reason, on that second to last pace lap, the darkness got even darker just out of nowhere, and it was pretty much just impossible to see where we going by the end of it.
But the racing before that, though, these trucks at Michigan, certainly we saw that it can wear out the tires quicker than you might think. There was plenty of side-by-side action, a couple of people pushing up high through 2 and 4. How did you find the handling of the truck, and were you trying to look after those tires?
It was a bit weird, probably just because this was a mostly baseline setup. Like, it was pretty tight, and you can get in the corner pretty good, but there was just not really the grip there after a couple laps. You could go flat out through here, but it's just the grip started to go away, and you'd have to really be careful on your throttle, otherwise you'd just get spinning.
2nd place, not bad for you. In fact, it's exactly where you started. So how does that rate? Just a clean race? Got some good points for yourself and for your team?
Yeah, a teammate messaged me before this saying if we just have a pretty good result, we should have a decent standing in the rankings right now. I don't know, just a good race. Just as clean as you can get. I mean, it could have been a lot worse than.
If I see this correctly, your teammates with Brian Molitor and came into this round leading the team points. Is that correct?
I didn't take a look at it, but judging by what he said to me, yeah, apparently.
Well, both of you getting to the finish line means probably a reasonable haul of points, and you got 2nd. So that's pretty good for you. Any shout outs, I guess, while you're on HJBC?
Just want to, I don't know, thank all the people that run this. I've been kind of struggling with the road courses and getting pretty frustrated with that, and that's been kind of evident because I'm probably saying a lot more than I should. But just, I don't know, thank y'all guys for running this. It's not free to do this, so just, yeah, thank y'all for doing it.
There we go. That's our second place finisher, Austin Burdick. And we do have our third place finisher. And Aaron is going to speak with Lynn Kinchlow.
Lynn, thank you for shouting out and responding to anybody that would willing to come into the booth tonight, because we couldn't see anything, but thankfully we've got our P3 finished. Talk about the start of the race and some of the tire strategy stuff. I think that was super important, and then we'll obviously get into the closing of the race. But really enjoyed watching you drive tonight. You and Alex Albert had some fantastic battles.
Yeah, I was having a really good time in my unorthodox motorsports Chevy Silverado, just trying to mind my PCQs. I was ringing tonight, so I didn't want to get in the way of the aforementioned teams battle, trying to mess anything of that up. But had a good start, good finish, and somebody forgot to pay the light bill.
Yeah, I definitely forgot to pay the light bill. Again, up here in the booth, we were asking for the PA announcers to tell the audience to turn on their camera phones and shine some light on there. Talk to us about how quickly the tires would stick with you and how quickly they would fall off. I think we saw some very early pitting. I think lap 6, pretty much the whole field went down. What was the thinking behind that? And some of the cars stayed out a little longer.
In my case, I just trying to mind my P's and Q's, wanting to be on the absolute freshest tires whenever I could. And I believe that helped me, especially in the middle of the race where I was able to jump out to the mid-race lead. Once the track started rubbering in, it really hooked up, and I was able to just hang on to charge through the.
But well, Lynn, again, we really enjoyed your drive tonight. Again, super competitive drive for you, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't ask, what was it like the last 10 minutes of that race? As you heard Austin speak about how there was just a moment where it seems like they just turned off the lights. What did you do to get through roughly a full lap in absolute darkness?
So, from my perspective, driving in virtual reality, I could barely see the top of the catch fence contrasted against the sky, and I was able to sort of kind of feel where I was going. The hard part was going to be if I happened to bump into another vehicle, which was going to be inevitable at some point, and it probably did somewhere in the back of the pack, causing that race-ending caution. Ultimately, it's just I'm more upset over losing that one position on the final restart. I'm not that good of a restart specialist, so that's why I'm finishing third.
Well, we really enjoyed your drive tonight, sir. Congratulations on a strong finish. Any call outs or shout outs before you leave the booth tonight? And please be careful leaving.
Yeah, very careful leaving because it looks dark out there. I want to thank my team on Unorthodox Motorsports, Team Motors, Matt Gelder, Steve Driscoll, sponsors, Direct Innovations, SimAbility, Extra Life. I think it's everybody on my vehicle. I can't see. It's over there somewhere in that particular spot of darkness. I'll probably stumble on my way back there in a moment.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us tonight, David.
Hi, it's iRacing commentator David Haynes. In 2019, I'm excited to be bringing coverage of the Champ Car Sim Series, the sim racing division of the Champ Car Endurance Series. Contested across 15 championship rounds using the 2015 Mazda MX-5, the winners will receive a free entry into a real Champ Car Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Each points round will be broadcast live by HJBC. Head to forum.champcar.org for full information and schedule. Sign-ups are open, so get registered now. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the track.